Push for equity in San Diego, the initiative at City Hall to give a voice and a role in local government to people who have been overlooked in the past.
Coronavirus cases spiking across the country and right here in San Diego. The latest trend in our county and how it compares to where we were last year.
Months after a young man was killed in an accident in Mission Trails Park, a windfall clearing the way for a project aimed at making sure what happened to him never happens again. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
And good morning to you and welcome. I'm Jim Patton.
And I'm Virginia Cha. Well, coronavirus cases do continue to rise across the U.S. and here in San Diego, and we're going to have more on that situation in a moment. Nationwide, as kids start heading back to school, the CDC is weighing new guidance based on vaccine eligibility.
Yeah, that is President Biden says kids younger than 12 could become eligible in the next few months, and the administration pushes for more Americans to get vaccinated. ABC's Rena Roy has more.
Growing fears the U.S. is heading in the wrong direction. The daily average of new cases in the U.S. tripling in the last month. The Delta variant estimated to make up 83% of them. Hospital admissions on the rise in 36 states. This Florida woman's mother is fighting COVID-19 in the ICU, and her dad died from the virus, both unvaccinated.
It's just something that we just didn't do right away, but it's definitely now something that we are going to want to get.
Just 57% of the eligible population is fully vaccinated here in the U.S.
This absolutely could and should have been prevented. This is becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
41-year-old James Scott Owen doesn't have his shots and is learning to breathe again as he battles the virus in a Florida hospital.
Now that I have had the full cycle of symptoms, I would definitely have opted to get it.
And now concern for unvaccinated kids as some schools get ready to reopen. More than 23,000 new pediatric cases in the last week. In Georgia, the family of Wyatt Gibson says he was a healthy 5-year-old, passed away on Friday. They say he had contracted several infections, COVID, strep, and staph days before. And although rare, there have been new reports of deaths from breakthrough infections, but experts say the majority of cases in fully vaccinated people are mild.
Breakthrough infections are concerning, and that's why we need to look at who people are, where they are, and what they're doing.
Experts say breakthrough infections are normal and expected, and although vaccines help prevent severe disease, no vaccine is 100% effective. Experts stress getting your shots is still the best form of protection. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
In San Diego, also seeing a surge in cases. The county reporting 521 new cases yesterday. That marks one straight week in San Diego with 400 or more new cases a day. And for some perspective, that's around the number of new daily cases that were being reported this time last year before the vaccines were available. And how is this affecting the vaccinated versus the non-vaccinated? In the last month, the county says there have been 4 hospitalizations among people who are fully vaccinated. In that same time, 170 people who aren't fully vaccinated have been put into a hospital due to COVID.
Another major push to build a bridge in Mission Trails after a 21-year-old fell and drowned while trying to cross the San Diego River. Local leaders announcing a large grant from the state to build that crossing. ABC 10 News reporter Natay Holmes joins us live from Mission Trails. Natay, with this new funding, that bridge is expected to be completed sooner than expected.
Or Virginia, the state has allocated a $1.5 million grant that will go towards a pedestrian and bike bridge that will honor the late Max Lanai. His family was here this morning, his mom and dad, and his mom spoke about how great of a person he was. He loved the arts, he loved the environment, and he was very invested in his education. And she says with this new bridge, his memory will live on.
In this terrible tragedy, we have been embraced so much by this community and so many people and so many friends that it has made it tolerable. And today is a day to celebrate all the goodness that's come out of it.
And local leaders have been showing their support for the bridge since the death of Max Lanai. Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins was able to help secure the funding for the crossing from the state. Last January, Lanai was running in the park when he came to the San Diego River Trail crossing. Rain had water levels higher than normal. Well, the 21-year-old's parents believe he tried to cross the river but likely slipped and drowned. Initial costs of the bridge are estimated at $2.1 million, according to Max's father. With the grant announced this morning and the donations of more than $700,000, the Mission Trails Regional Park Foundation has about $2.3 million set aside for the project. Now, local leaders and Max's parents believe with the new funding granted by the state that the bridge will likely be completed in 2 to 3 years. At Mission Trails Regional Park, Natay Holmes, ABC 10 News.
Natay, thank you very much. Well, the mayor of San Diego has just introduced a few members of his team who are going to be responsible for finding ways to bring equity and diversity within the city. It's part of our series, Stories for Change. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell joining us live downtown with how the public, Marie, can get involved in this process.
Yeah, Jim, so during this news conference, we were introduced to some of these committee members, and all of them had one thing in common. None of them thought they would ever hold this type of position, and now they're encouraging people to step up and serve.
The city has not always done a great job of making sure the diversity of the city is reflected in the appointments that we make to boards and commissions.
A reality San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria has been working to change ever since he came into office. Among those who have been selected to join one of the 40 boards and committees is Zoe Nguyen, who is part of the San Diego City Employee Retirement System. Not only does he have extensive experience with investments and pension management, he's also a refugee who believes his life experience will give another lens to the issues City Hall faces.
People's lived experiences in combination with their own professional expertise brings a mosaic approach to solving problems, fresh ideas, fresh energy.
Nguyen says he never even thought of serving in this type of role, but adds it's something he looks forward to doing, to do his part in making sure the city always takes into account the people who live here. Since Mayor Gloria has taken office, 70% of people who have been appointed to serve on these boards and committees are people of color. Half of them are women. And now they're making it that much easier to get involved. The city has created an online portal, onboard.sandiego.gov, where people can get information about what positions are available, and people can directly send their applications if they're interested. Now, we've posted that link on our website, 10news.com. Click under the Resource Center. Live from downtown, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Marie. Emergency crews came to the rescue of a driver involved in this rollover crash this morning. Happened off the 5 north south of State Route 54. According to the CHP, it took nearly 30 minutes to free the woman you see there who was trapped in her car after she lost control, rolling it onto the grass. Firefighters used the jaws of life to cut the doors off to free her. She was taken to a hospital. It's not clear how she's doing right now. The CHP is investigating the crash.
A former San Diego healthcare employee is facing charges for allegedly stealing the identity of dying patients in order to collect pandemic-related benefits. Prosecutors say that the case all started with a traffic stop. That stop led to search warrants, and officers uncovered the alleged scheme. They say a former Scripps Health employee, Matthew Lombardo, would use his position to access confidential records and then steal all kinds of information, including Social Security numbers. Well, prosecutors say Lombardo, with help from 3 others, used the information to collect the benefits of a homeless man, a heart attack victim, and more.
If a loved one passes away, whether suddenly or expected, the last thing that they're going to be thinking about in the days and weeks that follow is, well, let's protect my uncle, my brother, my father's identity to make sure no one steals their identity. They're thinking about a burial. They're thinking about grieving.
According to the Department of Justice, the defendant's facing a maximum penalty of 32 years in prison if convicted. And we have more details about the allegations at 10news.com.
Happening today, a vote that could result in long-term tuition hikes for the UC system. And any hikes would become a permanent fixture for the UCs. Today, regents for the University of California are voting on a plan that would raise tuition for each incoming undergraduate class. That increase would only apply to the new incoming students Then that class would pay the same rate over the next several years. Grad students, though, would see an increase every year. The hikes would be tied to inflation. The UC system argues this would help with rising costs and says a third of the new revenue would go towards student aid.